the Cowboys are literally did exactly what you expect from the Cowboys. If the defense does not win you a game, Dak Prescott ain't going to do it. Dak Prescott, we've seen this time and time again, year after year. Dak Prescott is not the quarterback that is going to carry you to a playoff championship, whatever. You need either a Zeke, Tony Pollard now, defense, whatever the case is. Dak did Dak things.
All About the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Welcome to All About the Balls podcast. I'm Mark Davis in the Sack House, ready to talk week 3 of this NFL season, joined with Chris Meinhardt, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Chris, I'll start with you. We just wrapped up week 3. I know your Bengals, your second team won, but not a good loss, as Derek Carr did suffer that AC joint sprain in his shoulder. Allowed a comeback. Jameis Winston did not eat a W. Jordan Love came back. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had a better Saturday than Sunday. Sunday, I almost took myself behind the barnyard, you know. Jameis Winston did not come in, given a 17-0 lead, and he didn't take us. But I wouldn't blame him. Blame Pete Carmichael. Get him the fuck out of the building. But hey, I just wish my teams were as good as my fantasy teams going, you know?
Oh, yeah, you're kicking ass in fantasy. You're 3-0 in Dynasty and in redraft. Luke, we'll move on to you. How are you feeling coming off week 3? Lamar Jackson, not that guy this week, as he lost to Gardner Minshew and the Colts. Not Anthony Richardson, but Gardner Minshew. Justin Tucker, also his leg came a little short. Not used to that, but how are we feeling?
Yeah, I mean, tough loss. I mean, this is – they talked about all week this being a sleeper game for us, and it was. So, I mean, sucks. The injury bug's killing the Ravens right now, as usual. And plus a couple late no calls for penalties that could have changed the game and gotten Tucker within that extra couple yards.
And we'll definitely talk.
Winner, but it's tough loss, sucks. Gardner Minshew played better than expected.
And we'll definitely talk about that. I know there's a segment there. We're going to mention the Ravens, so we'll definitely talk about those couple no calls. Doc, nothing new to you, man. You know, your team lost again. So how are you feeling as you're 0-3, you know, on potential to get that first pick, maybe the second pick too, if the Panthers and you guys stay winless? How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're right where we should probably be. An extremely disappointing week, but that's going to be a good show, man. It's going to be a good show. I got a lot to say, so, you know, drink is in hand, ready to blow the fucking roof off with this one, because lot of disappointment across the NFL this week.
If there was any game that Taylor Swift should attend for her first one to see Travis Kelce, it was definitely Chicago Bears, because she saw the Chiefs just wipe the floor with you guys. And, you know, good for the Bears for letting her see, you know, a good performance for another team.
Yeah, you know, it just kind of goes to show what the Chiefs offense is, because, you know, our defense is a fucking block of Swiss cheese out there. It's like that Target game in Madden. You know, you just got to hit it. And to only put up 41.
Yeah, they put their backups in the fourth quarter.
I think the backups were in the third quarter.
Patrick Mahomes was out in the third. Yeah, no, Patrick Mahomes was out in the third quarter.
Yeah,
After his ankle got rolled up, they pulled him.
No, he came back after that.
He came back. His ankle got rolled up before the half.
No, yeah, he was out in the third.
No, but he came back in the second half though, because the Travis Kelce touchdown was in the third quarter.
No, yeah, he played half of the third quarter.
Yeah, I'm not saying when he got pulled, but I'm just saying, like, he got
pulled out during the time period of the third quarter. He was pulled out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so Doc, like I said, it's unfortunate, man. I'm sorry that this keeps happening to you on a weekly basis. And my team lost 2 boys, so it's the first time since we started the show, I mean, through 3 weeks, that our team has all 4 lost in the same week. So we lost to Detroit. We only scored 6 points, so not a good week for the Atlanta Falcons, just like your guys' team. But yeah, so let's move on. I'm actually looking at so he was out, Doc, in the third quarter. They took over 4 minutes left in the third quarter just around that time is when Patrick Mahomes sat out. But let's move on, boys, and let's talk probably the best, not the best thing that I saw, but probably the most dominant win I think I've ever seen in my life. The Miami Dolphins, 70-20 over the Denver Broncos. And let's just open the floor. Are the Miami Dolphins unstoppable? No, and this was without Jalen Waddle too, by the way.
No, I don't think so. I think they came in and played at home against a weak Denver team. This is one of those situations, you get up enough early and you just deflate the other team. They're walking around flat-footed. They're not really putting in the effort anymore. I'm not taking away from what the Miami offense is, but I'm not going to jump out here and say that Miami is unstoppable. I don't think they're quite there yet. Outstanding game offensively, by Miami, but the run game, the Broncos just couldn't figure out the ground game. They couldn't figure out how to stop the run. And I think that was just a fault on them. So, Russell Wilson played a great game. It was actually nice to see.
They couldn't figure out how to stop the run, or they couldn't stop the run, or they couldn't run the ball?
No. Denver couldn't stop the run.
They couldn't stop the pass neither. And they couldn't stop the pass neither. Tua had 4 touchdowns over 300 yards, only 3 incompletions.
So, yeah, but we're not talking college level 500 yards passing. 300 yards is a big deal in the NFL. Again, I'm not taking away from the Miami offense, but I wouldn't.
Couldn't even stop.
Tua did complete 23 to 26. So yeah,
they couldn't even stop.
In total, 25 to 28.
Their starters were still in. Mike White came in. He was 2 of 2 for 67 yards and a touchdown. So they couldn't even stop Mike White. And that's with Patrick Surtain out there, by the way. Patrick Surtain was out on the field when that long touchdown for Mike White was out there too. So it wasn't just the starters putting up points.
Well,
what were you saying about Mike White?
Mike White was 2 of 2 for 67 yards and a touchdown on the Denver Broncos starting defense.
Yeah, I don't think the Dolphins are unstoppable. Belichick proved that offense can be stopped by just taking away the top of the field, stop the big games from happening, and let Tua do the short little drop-offs, and their offense pretty much stops. Belichick did a really good job last week on doing it, and clearly Sean Payton did not take notes.
Well, that's Vance Joseph that didn't take notes for the defense because Sean Payton doesn't do anything with that defense at all.
Sean Payton was just too busy kicking people out of the locker room, man. kicking fucking Russell's crew out of the locker room, man.
Dude.
Sean Payton hit Russell with that fucking fuck you. He kept him in the whole game too.
Yeah.
He ain't let him quit like Joe Burrow did in week 1.
Well, you're not trying to also get your franchise QB injured neither.
Look how well that aged.
I don't think Russ is the franchise QB in Denver anymore. I think
the guy's like 40 years old.
Yeah, I think he's
to be honest,
out the door.
If Sean Payton can get a QB like a Caleb Williams, something like that, usually I know since Payton's retired, the Broncos haven't had a franchise QB, but they are they're known to be a great organization when it comes to developing talent. Not the last 7 years, like Garrett Bowles said, but historically they've been pretty good at developing talent. So, yeah, I don't think Russell Wilson's the star. Back to the Dolphins, though. I don't think they're unstoppable. Like Chris said, if you get a good defense like the Patriots that can kind of limit them, then, yes, they can be maintained. I don't think you're going to just take out Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but limit the damage. But the Dolphins' defense is getting better every single week. I get it. They had that shootout against the Chargers, but last week against the Patriots and this week against the Broncos, I get it. Not probably the high explosive offenses, but still they are NFL teams, and you gave up 20 points back-to-back weeks. So your defense is looking pretty solid, and this is all without Jalen Ramsey. So just wait till Ramsey gets back if he does, and we'll see what happens, in December. But I think right now that they're arguably the best team in the NFL. It's definitely the AFC. They're definitely the best AFC team.
Yeah, like you said, I don't think the offense definitely isn't unstoppable, or the offense isn't unstoppable, but they're going to put up big numbers. You just have to stop the bleed, like you said, Mark. Like limit the plays, limit the big plays. Like that one play where Tyreek was open and there was nobody around him for like 20 yards. That's the best player.
Open? Yeah, how's he get open?
Yeah, Jalen Waddle's not even in the game.
Somebody wasn't in their fucking position.
There's just guys you don't leave that open. JJ, Adams, Tyreek Hill, the best receivers. Really, honestly, every receiver should be that open. But when you have the best receivers in football right there, you should have fucking 2 guys on them at all times, essentially.
I'll tell you how that happens. That happens when you got somebody playing zone in a man defense.
Saw that a couple times this week, but no, and Chris too. And you guys mentioned it, or earlier you guys mentioned couldn't stop the run. if the running attack for this team is going to be this electric with Mostert and Achane, A-Chain, I know I've heard a couple different ways to say it, but from Texas A&M, this is going to be hard to stop them because the backup had 200 plus rushing yards. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
The backup.
Yeah. I think Miami's they're gonna put up points against any defense in the NFL right now. It's just like Chris was saying, stop the big plays. Like stop the fucking plays that deflate your defenses. Having Tyreek Hill fucking open like by 20 yards is gonna kill a defense. It's gonna kill the morale. And that happens 2-3 times. And guess what? They put a 70 burger on somebody. So
that's what I'm saying. I don't like A-Chain. I think this was a matter like the backup came in, and I think that this was just Denver defense didn't give a shit. I think that they weren't playing with heart, and they weren't wrapping up right, weren't hitting the open field tackles, and I don't think that they were playing what normal Denver defense would be. So I don't think this happens every week. This is a close game. I don't think A-Chain's putting up those 200 yards.
And
what's your question, Doc? What's your question?
What?
I missed that. Yeah, I missed what happened there.
About like the Sean Payton interview.
Oh yeah, dude. That reporter was an asshole. That reporter was an asshole. I sometimes will side with reporters, but no.
I was so confused for a second.
That reporter was a dick, dude. Like he already answered, he was humiliated and embarrassed, and then you're gonna sit there and be like, he said, "What's the question?" He's like, "Oh well, I'm just saying they broke records on you." He's like, "So how do you feel?" Well, no shit, I just fucking answered it. Like,
I feel great.
Dick.
Feel great. Real glad to be a part of the downside of that 70 burger. Real glad I could be on the receiving end of Miami breaking records and putting up 70 points. They got more offense than Justin Fields has in the last 25 games that he's played through the air. So, real glad that we could witness that.
Hey, the Bears do still hold the most point differential in losing, even though they dropped 50 on them.
But they have not.
I'm liking Michael Penix Jr. more and more every week. Mark's got me on him, man. Mark's got me on the train.
We'll talk about him in college. I'm telling you, I know he's Heisman leader.
Yeah, dude. Him and Marvin Harrison Jr. Dude, you put Harrison. Well, yeah. Well, that's down the road.
No, also real quick though, Chris, you mentioned that the Broncos do actually have the most points scored against them, but yes, point differential goes to the Bears. So, but tough test for Miami. They're going to be at Buffalo this week. I think that's the game of the week. Honestly, which
it's going to be a shootout.
We'll talk Buffalo. Actually, let's talk Buffalo. Let's jump them up to the top. Are we sleeping on the Buffalo Bills? Since we brought them in, the Buffalo Bills quietly now 2-1. I mean, I get they had that tough loss against Zach Wilson. I think if you play him again, they probably annihilate Zach Wilson. They probably just call a little off guard there. Their offense was flat-footed. It wasn't really Zach Wilson. Their offense was flat-footed. Josh Allen is cooking right now, and to be honest, this running attack is cooking. James Cook has been balling the last 2 weeks, and like we mentioned with the Dolphins, if James Cook is balling, this is a well-balanced offense for Buffalo. Look out for this offense, and the defense is still kicking ass. They had 4 interceptions on Sam Howell. Good at Sam Howell, not great, but 4 interceptions is a lot.
Yeah, Sam Howell was terrible.
Yes, he was.
No, James Cook had a great game. 15 for 98, averaged over 6 a carry. It was just open field for him. Shout out to Josh Allen, by the way, running the ball. 3 for 46. Love to see that effort from a big-bodied dude like Josh Allen. But passing-wise, I'm not overly impressed with Allen. 20 of 32, 218 yards, a score and a pick. I don't think that we're sleeping on Buffalo. I think they still got some to prove. They are a good team. I think that they're definitely playoff bound, but I don't think we're sleeping on them in the sense that this team's going to the Super Bowl, going to make a deep playoff push. I think that there's still a lot of question marks, especially in the AFC. Anytime you got to go, anytime Josh Allen has to go against Patrick Mahomes, and then you also potentially don't have Joe Burrow to stand in the way. But
that comeback was not on Josh Allen. Let's just throw that out there. In 2021, that's not on Josh Allen, the way they lost to the Chiefs there. He actually outperformed Patrick Mahomes that game. So just that his defense let him down.
I was just saying in general, I know, when you got the Chiefs in your way, I wasn't taking no jabs at Buffalo.
Well, we still have to see what the Chiefs are going to become because this offense, yes, they did look explosive against you guys, but let's see if they can do that against.
That ain't hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Again, I'm disappointed. I'm honestly disappointed they only put up 41. All right. When I saw that Dolphins game and the Chiefs were coming up after, that should have been the standard. That should have been the bar. Right here, you're like, shit, Dolphins scored 70. We're way up here. And then the Chiefs come out and you're like, all right, 70 is like what we need at half. Like we should be able to do that against this defense.
They showed more mercy. But I do think people are sleeping on the Bills. I think we overreacted to week 1, and they're just getting better every week. And the Commanders' defense is legit, and they worked them. They worked them like dogs. So I think that's pretty impressive to do. They have one of the best front lines in football.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty exciting matchup with Miami next week against them. See which team is really like the real deal. Like, see if Miami can still, against like the Bills defense, put up like big numbers like that, like they have each week. Then if the fucking Bills defense can try to lock them down a little bit, and Josh Allen, I think his biggest thing is his decision making. He's up there still throwing up some punts, so he can like tie that in, like not make those bad decisions. Like he plays well. Other than that, he just throws up a punt here and there.
I don't think it has to do with like decision making. I think it has to do with like off the field issues. I mean, you have Stephon Diggs making fucking big fights on the sideline if he doesn't get the ball. So you have Josh Allen trying to force him the ball, which is leading into interceptions. If they can work out that off field issue of Stephon not being a drama queen and accepting the fact, like, hey, if you don't get targets, like at least be happy that your team's winning.
Accepting the fact that, hey, you're not that good. Get open. You want targets? Get open.
Well, there's a lot of times where he is open, and I get it. Like, I understand the frustration, but you can't have the ball every single play. I mean, but there are times like I said, AJ Brown's got a big game. I think they were arguing because of the whole, like, hey, I'm open, you're not hitting your reads. I don't think it was messed up about targets. Just he was mad that he wasn't getting he was wide open. But I expect Stephon to keep balling. And boys, this is going to be a big test for the Dolphins' offensive line too. The Bills just had 9 sacks, so I understand that they're playing pretty good, but they have not played a defense. I mean, New England's pretty good, but they're not. I don't think they're Buffalo good still. And I don't know. I think we're sleeping on Buffalo. I still like them. I think their window is still slightly open. And like you said, the AFC's tough, but the AFC East is now going to be Miami, Buffalo. Jets are out the picture just because no Aaron Rodgers. So it's a 2-horse race right now in the AFC East. And it starts this week, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fucking shootout, honestly. I mean, you have 2 high-power offenses, especially Miami coming off that 70-pointer. I mean, you know that they're feeling good.
Yeah, but they're going to come out cocky and come out flat?
No, I don't think so.
We're going to see.
We definitely are going to see. Boys, let's move on, though. Big upsets. That we had 3 huge upsets in my eyes. I mean, I think we were all in agreement on it. We had the Dallas Cowboys. Luke kind of called it. He said that he saw it as a sleeper game against the Arizona Cardinals, that they lost to Arizona in Arizona 28-16, double digits. Luke's Baltimore Ravens fell short in overtime to the Gardner Minshew Indianapolis Colts, and the overrated Jacksonville Jaguars lost at home 34-17, knocked Doc out of Survivor against
37-17. Put some fucking respect on it.
Sorry. But boys, big upsets. So with these upsets, are we kind of pumping the brakes on these 3 teams? Or are we just kind of a quick little setback, don't be bounced back? Like, what are we thinking with these 3 high-powered teams that we've seen the last few weeks?
I think the biggest – Go ahead.
Let me go ahead and lead this one off because I got a lot to say about this one since Mark had to bring up the Survivor. All right. I'll start with the easy one, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not going to pump the brakes on them. I think that this was a rough game for them, but I think that they're going to come back gel just fine. I mean, they finally have a true number 1 wide receiver in Zay Jones, whether he may or may not be listed as that right now, with a healthy Mark Andrews, with the dual threat running attack that you've got between anybody that you put in the backfield and Lamar Jackson. The defense is solid. I like the Ravens. I think the Ravens still going to play well. Let's move on to the Cowboys because that's another kind of easy one. The Cowboys are literally did exactly what you expect from the Cowboys. If the defense does not win you a game, Dak Prescott ain't going to do it. Dak Prescott, we've seen this time and time again, year after year. Dak Prescott is not the quarterback that is going to carry you to a playoff championship, whatever. You need either a Zeke, Tony Pollard now, defense, whatever the case is. Dak did Dak things. Dak did exactly what I expected Dak to do, and this is coming from a guy with having him as his quarterback in fantasy. Arguably, one of my most disappointing picks ever in my life. I told you guys even when we were doing the draft that I was going to be disappointed with Dak, but I didn't really have a choice at that point. But 25 of 40. I mean, forced the ball up 40 times, 25 completions, 249 yards. And that offensive line is way too good for your quarterback to be that bad. And then I'll roll over. I'll keep that short and sweet. I'll roll over with my next segue here, which is pretty simple. 3 words. Fuck the Jags. The Jags are fucking dog shit. That whole team top to bottom. Trevor Lawrence, I'm starting to think is one of the most overrated quarterbacks. I'm so glad. Like the biggest fucking scam move in NFL history was Trevor Lawrence getting paid that money by Jacksonville on that extension. Just an
Trevor Lawrence
absolutely terrible game.
He hasn't got
Lawrence
paid yet.
paid, Jay. Joe Burrow got
Oh,
paid.
I thought he got extension.
Lawrence is
No,
the only
not
one
yet.
that has not got the extension.
Herbert. Did.
Oh, well, thank God the fucking colors are showing. Because now Jacksonville is going to save some money coming up.
Well,
Calvin
Doc,
Ridley
I did mention in the preview, like, you know, the division breakdowns of, like, when I said the Jaguars, I said the last time they had a pretty good year, and then they've shit the bed since when they had Blake Bortles and that great defense. So this is what we're looking at now. It looks like the Jaguars were overhyped. Chris has mentioned it to us in the chats. They don't know how to use Calvin Ridley. I mean, he looked phenomenal in preseason, and he even looked good in week 1. And then all of a sudden he's just, you know, slowly regressing. I don't know what's going on with the Jaguars. They started off slow last year too. So are they overhyped? I mean, well, I guess we'll find out in a few weeks, but I think at the moment, I think they'll get an easy win next week because they're in London. So they'll probably win the next 2 games because they're in London. They're the London Jaguars. They usually succeed over there. But I'm actually a little disappointed in the Ravens. I'm sorry, Luke. Lamar Jackson has not looked good. I mean, he hasn't, not in the passing attack.
He looked good he looked good in the Cincy game.
Yeah. He looked defense.
He looked decent in the Cincy game. He wasn't phenomenal. He did enough to win games. I still didn't like what I saw. I didn't like what I saw in the Texans game. I definitely didn't like what I saw yesterday against the Indianapolis Colts. I get it. There was some holding calls in the secondary that would have probably extended the drive, and Tucker would have been in range. We'll see what he would have done. But he still hasn't looked good.
Missed face mask.
Dude, Minshew
No, I get it.
37 of 44 and came down with that win.
Minshew ran out of the end zone.
Minshew outperformed him.
The man safetied himself.
and still won the game. I mean, I don't know. I'm just disappointed in the Ravens, and you know, I thought they needed that win because I'm sorry, like, you're playing a tough Cleveland Browns team in Cleveland this week, and we see what their defense is. So Lamar Jackson needs to figure it out with Todd Monken and this offensive scheme. I'm not saying you guys are done. I'm just saying you need to figure it out fast because it has not looked impressive to me. Not yet.
I think we came into this game sleeping a little bit. I think Harbaugh is being very, very conservative with our injuries, not trying to rush players back. And with AR sitting out, I think Harbaugh's like, fine. Like, I think we just decided, like, we were down 2 offensive linemen, our top 2 running backs, our top 2 receivers, and 3 players in our secondary. So, I mean, that's just going to happen. Like, yeah, Lamar's playing and Flowers is playing and Andrews, but other than that, we're on 2 practice squad running backs playing the game. Like, yeah, Gus played.
No matter. RB1's still there, dude.
Well, yeah, I mean, he played. Lamar Jackson's ball security issues, a little bit of an issue now. I mean, it's been a few weeks in a row. He's put the ball down on the ground. A couple fumbles going the wrong way, setting us up in bad positions. But at the end of the game, we had plenty of opportunities to finish the game, and something would happen. Penalty, unfortunate miss by Tucker, just came up like a yard short on a 62-yarder, which, like, I get it. Like, everybody's like, Tucker's going to make everything, but not many kickers are hitting, even attempting from 60 plus. So, yeah, they're going to become.
And it could have been the cold weather.
60 plus.
And it could have been the cold weather
too.
Like,
all 4 of them, what, 50 plus?
Yeah,
it has been unusually cold out here on the East Coast.
He hit from 53. He was 53.
What was his other ones?
I think they're
all.
It
wasn't just 50.
I think he may have had a 54, but he didn't line up 60 plus.
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying you guys aren't going to figure it out. I'm just saying through 3 games, I have not liked what I've seen, and the upset shown. Maybe the Colts are a little better. They're 2-1. I mean, they're leading the AFC South at 2-1. So maybe
they're the best team in the AFC South.
Oh, at the moment they're 2-1. So yeah, they're the only team at 2-1. So it's still an upset, but maybe the Colts are better than we give them credit for. But I'm still not high on that offense, Chris, at all. So I mean, I don't know where you're going to be leaning.
I'm going to tell you, out of those three, I'm going to tell you the Ravens are the one I'm least worried about out of those three upsets. The one I'm
I'm not
least worried
saying
about.
that I'm worried. I'm just saying at the moment their offense has not looked like the offense that we were expecting to see.
No, I'm going to pump the brakes on the Ravens. I think I'm going to give them the pass. I mean, they have some injuries, key injuries too. I mean, O-line, everything like that. I mean, the biggest worry right now is Dallas. I mean, Dallas literally got fucking exposed. Their defense, which is supposed to be the number one in the league, got exposed by Joshua Dobbs.
And their offense got exposed too.
I wasn't even high on their offense to begin with.
Dak did what you expect Dak to do. Their offense did not get exposed. Their offense just reiterated the fact that if the defense doesn't come out to play and your running back doesn't carry you for 150 yards and 3 scores, you can't rely on Dak alone.
Yeah, no, the first 2 games, Dak didn't do much. I mean, it was the defense. It was the defense scoring touchdowns, and it was Tony Pollard running down their throats. I mean, Dak's not the guy. And you saw that with the game-ending interception. I don't know what the fuck he saw in the end zone, but all I saw was 3 red uniforms. And even me, as a guy that's never played a snap at quarterback, I would know not to throw there.
You might got to talk to Jameis about the NFL's vision plan. Maybe he got to get that Jameis eye surgery.
He might. I don't know. Dallas got fucking exposed defensively and offensively. Their defense looked atrocious. And it wasn't even like Arizona was driving down the field with like little throws here and there. It was big plays over and over again. And then my other one is, I mean, like we said, Jacksonville. I don't know what the fuck's going on in Duval County, but something offensively is not clicking, and they got to fix it. I mean, they're trying to feed Ridley the ball. I'm pretty sure Ridley got 8 targets this game, 8 or 7. So I mean, they're feeding him. It's not clicking.
Trevor couldn't put the ball on target. I mean, watching a lot of those throws, they were just he could not hit the zone, and drop it right in the pocket. I mean, what?
And they brought the game
Ridley had,
and they brought the game
7,
pretty close. They brought the game back to a reason. I think it was a field goal game, and then after that, fucking Houston just kept going. Like they didn't look back after that. They brought it back. And no, shout out to Houston too. I'm not gonna lie, C.J. Stroud is fucking balling this year. He's got almost 1,000. He's got 900 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I think I saw a stat where it said the most yards, whatever, before throwing interception as a rookie. Like he's having a great year. And Will Anderson, two QB hits. He's looked pretty good this year. So
Texans are on Tank down.
And Nico Collins
might be sleeping on the Texans a little bit because every game they play is pretty solid game. So I mean, they're 1-2, but still they're competitive in every game.
There are 3 receivers: Nico Collins 260 yards, Tank Dell 251, and Robert Woods 165. So
this is a team that everybody expected to maybe have 1 or 2 wins for the season.
And Tank Dell's a rookie too, I believe. So they have some young pieces. So it looked like Houston's starting to hit on the draft. Maybe they can lure some free agent wide receivers, and the defenses look pretty decent in my opinion through the 3 weeks. I mean, we'll see what Houston's going to do. I mean, AR ate them up, but through 2
I don't even know if they need
of the 3
wide
games looked pretty
receivers.
good.
CJ Stroud's making them look like stars out there.
Robert Woods is getting old though. I mean, he's older, so you're gonna want to eventually get maybe a better, a younger veteran that's been in for maybe 5-6 years. Try and get one in there. Also, maybe replace Damian. I mean, not replace him, but get a complimentary back because Damian Pierce is not the guy this year. He doesn't look good.
I think they could have traded for somebody like DJ Moore, huh?
I mean, I think the big thing is these boys love D'Amico Ryans down there, and they want to play for him, and they want to play hard for him. I mean, it just shows a head coach has a lot to do with how a team plays.
Yeah, I agree. D'Amico Ryans has definitely brought a different type of culture. Bill O'Brien was not the guy that, I mean, we saw what he did as a general manager. We saw what he did as a head coach. I wasn't a fan of him. I understand that they had the 1-year gap with the old Bears coach, Doc.
Lovey.
Smith.
I was just gonna say, bring Lovey back, dude.
I mean, he was the player. The players loved him.
Mind. He's a great defensive mind. Bring
the
back
players loved him. He was a bridge coach. We all knew that. But man, I'm proud of the Houston Texans. I think what they're doing is right, and maybe they're the second best team in the AFC South. Maybe Jacksonville really is all hype, and we were wrong on them coming in the season. That's Luke's Super Bowl pick.
I know. I might have to take them out of the Super Bowl now.
Well, I'm going to roll that since we're on
I
the topic of Jacksonville. I'm
think-
going to roll that into my overreaction of the week, and that is going to be Jacksonville is not making the playoffs. Like you said, Chris, something is going on in Duval County, and they need to fix it. They need to fix it quick. They need to find out what the hell's going on. ETN has been playing. He's been balling. They got to figure out the hell's going on because this is unacceptable. I mean, I'm not saying you. I mean, really, you can't lose to a team like Houston when you're a veteran established team. Like Jacksonville, the weapons that they have, but you cannot lose to Houston by 20. That's unacceptable. That's a black eye on that organization. I mean, they got to play better. They got to play better.
And this is a team that was supposed to be a late playoff push too.
Yeah.
Like not over here struggling against the Texans.
Well, like we
Yeah,
said,
no,
Luke had them as
especially
a
I
Super
had them
Bowl
going
team.
late too, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we all have them winning the South. I mean, that's what we had them.
Had.
So I mean,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's still 3 weeks in. They're only 1 game behind. So we saw them start slow last year. They picked it up. They did finish, just 9-8, and then make their way in the playoffs. Did beat the Chargers. So let's see what they can do going forward. Like I said, they're in London the next 2 games. We know how they play in London out there across the pond. They are usually a good team. So we'll see what they do.
That second game is the Bills, though.
That is the Bills, but they'll already be in London they're already going to be adjusted to the time. They're going to have an advantage, at least on that. The jet lag won't be there for them for the second game. So
they had nice warm up game too in London.
Yes, they're gonna probably beat my Falcons. I'm not gonna lie. Hey, but the way they're playing, you never know. Maybe we run the ball down their throat and just keep them off the field. Our defenses look pretty solid, so we'll see what we can do against them. But
And Luke, shout out to your boy OBJ. I don't know if y'all saw the montage on his TikTok. Cody showed me. This man put a beautiful montage together of him coming out doing the Ray Lewis, and then a highlight of catches, or at least what I thought were catches. It turned out that it was one catch that he just took 3 different angles and put it into the video. I guess that was just
I think
the
he
only.
said it. I think he said it on 3 catches for the season, 3 or 4.
He might have been.
No,
That might have been the
I'm just
only
saying for
catch
the
that
video.
game, though.
Yeah, he only it was literally one catch from that game that he came out doing the Ray Lewis and just took 3 different angles, and I was like, this man that hyped about this one catch.
That's his comeback game. That's his first game back.
Yeah. No, I give it to him. I give it to him. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this guy couldn't even find 3 different catches to put in there, but
yeah, he's taking the last 2 games off. Yeah.
hey, we already said me and Chris question and Doc too question signing OBJ, but boys,
if he'll be back, so hopefully he can just stay healthy. I'm like not a huge deal at the beginning of the season. I mean, we got a bunch of players out, so he's not the
you
only
don't
issue
need to be
we
a
have.
top dog. You just needed to
we
be
just need
there and just be a target.
Just honestly, just be on the field.
Just do what
He's
you
a
can.
distraction
Yeah,
if he's on the
that's it.
field. Yeah. Like,
Open up,
I
Zay
don't
Flowers,
even-
baby.
I don't even think
give him attention.
I don't think he's a distraction anymore like he used to be. I don't think he's
Yeah.
gonna draw that double coverage
well,
anymore.
He's very good drawing penalties. So
Well, that's not a distraction. That's just him drawing a flag. I mean, he's not drawing 2 guys over there, safety hovering over him, following like
No,
watch
but-
Davante Adams over Sunday night.
he's not that level that he was before. But
I mean, he hasn't been that level in a while. So
he's a yeah. I mean, he looked good. He was when he was at the Rams. He was
he
balling.
looked good in the playoffs. He was balling. I'll give him that. In the playoffs, he was having a good time. But we'll see when he gets back. We'll see. But speaking of getting back, we have 4 0-3 teams, boys. Do we believe in any of these 0-3 teams making a push to the playoffs? If so, or if not, do we maybe see some trades? I know the Vikings are an 0-3 team. Should they think about moving Kirk Cousins? Get something out of him before he walks this year. Doc, I know you're mentioning. I'm kind of on your side too. I think Minnesota, out of all the 0-4 teams, I think the 0-3 teams are the only one that can maybe make a push. They've been in close games all 3 weeks, so it's not like they're not in games. They're just revolving the fortune of last year. They're not winning these close games like they did last year. They're losing them now. So I do think Minnesota can. They're just shooting themselves in the foot with turnovers and bad play calling. We'll see what they can do. I'm still a believer, maybe because the division isn't as confident or competitive, and the
just say
conference isn't
everything.
as strong.
I think-
either.
Just
sorry.
get everything out, so then we don't. Nobody else has to talk about it. Jesus, Mark.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I think
We can speak.
No,
I
I'm-
guess
no.
piggyback.
I'm right there with
the
you. I'm right
Vikings have had a.
Like I said, what?
They've had a tough start of the season. So the Eagles and Chargers, like 2 weeks, like 2 of the top teams and talent wise in the fucking NFL, and they played them both close. So hopefully they'll go to the Panthers and finally get their first win unless Bryce Young comes back and
Oh.
decides to play football.
Luke, the Chargers gave them the game too. I mean, they went for a 4th down on their own 20-yard line.
Man,
Yeah.
that's both teams. Both teams are trying to lose. That's the Chargers and Vikings. That's what they try. They put up big numbers, but they try to lose end of games. It just happens every year.
No, I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to go anywhere. And then, I mean, Vikings literally have the best shot. I mean, Denver, I don't know what the fuck Sean's doing over there. The Bears, they ain't doing shit. And then
Sean's regretting his decision to come back.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
He's pissed.
And Carolina, they're working through a lot of stuff right now. The wide receivers aren't helping the quarterback out at all.
And Thielen's right?
No, he played. Bryce Young was hurt. Andy Dalton had more.
Thielen got hurt in the game, though. Didn't he go to a local hospital or something after the game?
Oh, he came back. I mean, I thought he finished the game.
No, I don't.
But I saw a stat. Andy Dalton had more pass completions of 10+ air yards than Bryce Young had his first 2 weeks. So
I mean, that's gonna happen.
You expect that with a rookie quarterback, though. You're not gonna have a rookie quarterback. Not every rookie quarterback's going to come out slinging fucking down the field.
CJ Stroud, they are looking good. I mean,
they weren't taking.
They are
deep
looking real
shots,
good
though.
from the bench.
CJ Stroud is playing very meticulous game. Like he's taking the little dump off passes, working his way down the field. So he's not. I don't think he's taking too much risky throws yet.
He don't have the weapons.
Oh.
You know.
I mean, I saw CJ Stroud throwing some bombs yesterday against Jacksonville Jaguars. It wasn't a lot of dinks and dunks.
Oh, he's probably feeling good.
CJ Stroud,
receivers looking good in Houston, though.
Yeah, CJ Stroud set up a lot better than Bryce Young with the receivers.
Well, I mean, but to be honest, the only difference, they both have a veteran receiver, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, and they both have young receivers. It's not like the Texans just got these stud receivers out of nowhere. They drafted Tank Dell in the 3rd round, and Nico Collins has only been for a couple of years, just like DJ Chark and Terrence Marshall. I mean, they're really in the same situation.
And now they finally got a quarterback in Houston that might be able to put the ball on target. I mean, just because you got a veteran and young guys don't mean that it's good across the board. I mean, I think that the receivers are still better on – I mean, at least from what we've seen, the receivers are still better on the Houston side than Carolina.
I also think it was that C.J. Stroud should have been the first draft pick, like I said, during the draft season. I really was high on him more than I was Bryce. I thought C.J. Stroud was better than Bryce Young. Bryce Young was just
what? A lot of people said the Bears should have drafted Patrick Mahomes, and guess where he would fucking be if they did, all right? He'd be Mitch Trubisky in it behind fucking Kenny Pickett in
Saints should have got him too.
You guys should have drafted Deshaun Watson at the time. I mean, I get it. What happened post-Texans era, but he was the better QB coming out of college. He was a national champion winner out of Clemson. That's Chicago being Chicago, though. But I don't know. I think that none of these teams are really going to turn around, honestly. I think Minnesota's shooting themselves in the foot, and this is what we're going to see.
This is going to be Kirk Cousins last year.
No, Minnesota.
Team, yes.
Minnesota is definitely the team to pull away
football.
here. This is a division that's wide open. I mean, like Chris said, the Bears ain't doing shit. The Lions are too shaky and inconsistent. There's still a lot of question marks, on the pass defense. The defense is getting better. They're looking a lot better, but there's still some question marks in that game against Seattle. I don't think, for what the Lions were playing this week against Atlanta, I don't think that they were looking overly impressive.
Or the Lions.
The what?
Or are we talking about the Lions?
I'm talking about the Lions.
Why? We're talking about.
I'm talking about why Minnesota can run away with this division still, even after starting 0-3.
That's a hot take right there. You think the Lions are going to give up the lead right now?
We're 3 games in.
Yeah, but
they're only up 2 games, really.
That's what
but you think the Lions are going to shit the bed that hard to let the Vikings come back?
I wouldn't call shit the bed that hard. We're not talking 6-0 versus 0-6.
I mean, I agree with what Doc's saying. I mean, it's not like a big jump right now through 3 weeks. They're only 2 games back. Obviously, the further the year goes on, if they're 4 or 5 games back through 6 games, then or through 5 games, then that might be a little more challenging. But,
Kirk Cousins is going to do what Kirk Cousins does. He's going to throw 300 yards. He's going to get a couple touchdowns. He's going to get a lot of interceptions thrown. But the biggest thing on the Vikings is they've got to incorporate that run. Madison had a much better game this week than we've seen so far this year. Cam Akers still learning the playbook, so look to see him getting in there next week and that 1-2 punch. I mean, you improve that run, and then, you just got to get the defense locked down and stop the team, the other team from getting at you through the air. And this is definitely, I mean, Herbert had over 400 yards passing against him, 40 of 47. I mean, if you can get the defense to come together and shut that down, I mean, Kirk Cousins has done a phenomenal job, especially with Justin Jefferson. And now you got KJ Osborne balled out. You got Jordan Addison has been having a year. He was kind of quiet this week, but he's been having a good year. So I mean, they've got all the pieces to be successful. So that they can have the NFC North is fucking weak right now. They can absolutely come back and take this division back.
Yeah, I mean, I get that part. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe if they come back to the division, maybe come back getting a playoff spot. I mean, that's where I was leaning towards. I mean, I wouldn't be like 100% shocked, like, oh, Detroit folded and here came Minnesota. But Minnesota does have a pretty tough schedule. They still got to play the Niners. They still got to play the Lions twice. Still got to play the Chiefs, the Bengals, if they get better. So, I mean, there's still solid teams still on their schedule. I mean, Detroit's around the same type of schedule. So, I mean, I think we're on agreement, though. The agreement, though, the other three teams pretty much out the door with making a comeback for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the way they're playing right now, Minnesota-Cincy on a Thursday night game would be right on par with the way that they're playing right now. A nice 9-6 barn burner.
They should flex out the Lions Packers game this week and put the Broncos and Bears on there because they play each other.
Oh man, that'd be good. That might be a 3-0 game. That might be like a Iowa defense, like Iowa-Illinois, back when it was like consistently 9-6 every year.
I might solely put that game only on my TV, like not even quad box it.
If you're not hyper focused on the Bears playing at this point,
it'd be a tough game to bet on.
Yeah, like, I don't know who I'm going to pick in that game.
It might be a 0-0 tie.
I'm gonna go
shocked.
No, I think fucking Fields he's got to figure it out eventually.
Well, he's off.
Dude.
He's got to figure it out.
He's off my dynasty team, so I'm good.
Fields,
he can go do.
Fields is averaging 150 yards passing per game in his career, like 156 or something. We'd love to see it.
Well, actually, no. Let's talk about Fields real quick before we go to the best moment. Are we in agreement with what Justin Fields said about the coaching coming into the week? How he feels robotic, he doesn't feel like himself, and then he kind of rewinded it back and downplayed it. But I agree with what Mike Greenberg said. I'm not saying Justin Fields' boys are supposed to be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or any of the like Patrick Mahomes. But the Bears do not develop their talent. They didn't give Mitch Trubisky a chance. They're not giving Justin Fields a chance. They're handcuffing him. Yeah, they got DJ Moore here. Typically, they didn't have receivers for him, no offensive line. The coaches don't give a shit. So you kind of like cut them off from the knees and like don't give them any type of shot to succeed at all.
I think I listened to a quick video earlier yesterday. Yeah, it had to be yesterday. Mike Greenberg, he put it perfectly. When we bring up previous quarterbacks, you look at Mitch Trubisky, right? They drafted Mitch Trubisky. John Fox didn't want him. They fired John Fox, and Matt Nagy came in, had absolutely no ties to Mitch Trubisky. They got rid of Trubisky. They brought in Justin Fields. Matt Nagy was high on him, wanted him. Then they fired Matt Nagy. Then they brought in Eberflus, who had no ties to Justin Fields, got rid of him. And now they've got Justin Fields in here. They brought Justin Fields under Matt Nagy. That's what
they did. That was Matt Nagy's last year.
Yeah, they got just so John Fox, they got Mitch Trubisky, and then they hired Nagy, got rid of Trubisky, drafted Justin Fields, got rid of Nagy, and now they brought in Eberflus. So his whole point on this thing was that they have not had a coach that's married to a quarterback. They have not had a coach that has been consistently for them, that they've kept around. Like, you just got this revolving door thing going on between the coach and the quarterback, and now Eberflus has come in here, and he's not tied to this quarterback. He's not fully invested in him because he wasn't in the war room going for this pick. And now Fields is going to be gone, and we're basically waiting until they draft somebody under Eberflus, and hopefully Eberflus can stay long enough to actually develop and make this guy worth something. But they definitely are handcuffing him. You saw with Mr. Trubisky, his breakout game against Tampa Bay and in year 2, I think it was, he threw for like 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, absolutely went off and basically showed Chicago, this is what I can do. And then they were like, yep, stop passing the ball up the field. And then Justin Fields, we saw in week 1, openly came out. They don't want a vertical passing game. This is supposed to be a short check down, side to side in the flat kind of thing. And I mean, what do you expect to happen? You can't put this on a quarterback with a guy that isn't getting the opportunity to show what he can do. And my biggest issue with Justin Fields, and it was evident tonight in the Eagles game with Jalen Hurts. It's evident when you watch Patrick Mahomes play. The biggest problem with Justin Fields, aside from holding on to the ball too long, right, is when he gets into scramble, he gets that tunnel vision. I can't blame the guy because he just gets pounded back there with the weak offensive line. But our offensive line is not, I'm not saying it's great, but it's not shit this year. You know what I'm saying? But when you see other quarterbacks that are quarterback first, they're running up the field, or they're scrambling, they're doing whatever, they're still looking up the field trying to find that open man. Justin Fields, when he gets into that mindset of I need to run, that is it. There's nothing else. Head down, find the hole, we're running. I can't tell you how many clips, how much film I've seen with receivers being open 20, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field, wide open. Wide. As soon as you see Justin scramble, collapse the defense into the pocket, you'll get him because he ain't passing shit.
I think that's an issue as well, but I think Fields just has an issue of reading defenses. Like, he doesn't go through his progressions at all. Like, he looks at his number one. If it's not there, then he's trying to run.
Yeah.
And I think the coaches are trying to make him a pocket passer, which he's not. And they, last game with Kansas City, literally one design run for him. Justin Fields is a running quarterback. They need to have more than one design run for Fields.
Well, yeah, but it's like you put it perfectly. You put it perfectly. He breaks down way too quickly. Like you said, if he looks at the number one target for that play, and if it ain't open, fuck it, we're running. And you can't do that.
That's because he's not a pocket passer, and that's what they're trying to make him.
But so even if you're scrambling, though, like you can be an agile quarterback. You can be a Josh Allen that I think is more pocket passer than scrambling quarterback. He can scramble, don't get me wrong. The guy can fucking run. But his size and his frame, I mean, he's more of a pocket passer build. But he can still scramble and move around in the pocket and still look upfield. That's his problem, is he's not looking for, like you said, if number one isn't open, he puts his head down and he runs. He's gotta find a way to look downfield and find an open target.
And that's just because he's not. I mean, I'm not trying to shit on the Bears, but I don't think Justin Fields is a great quarterback at all.
No, that was the point of the video.
I'm with it at this point.
That was the point of the video, though, Chris. Is like Mike Greenberg was not trying to say like they were destined between Trubisky and Fields to be phenomenal Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, but you don't even give them a chance to live up to any potential that they had when you drafted them in the first round at all. Like, you don't give them a shot, so it's like they're never going to live up to any potential they had. That's the point. Is they're not great quarterbacks, and they didn't have a chance to develop and progress because no one cared enough to give them that type of that chance, essentially.
And then you bring in a new head coach, and they're just automatically looking for the next guy they're going to bring in.
And you bring in a defensive-minded coach too. You don't even bring an offensive-minded coach in for this. That's supposed to be the cornerstone of your franchise. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I mean, what happens with the draft if they keep or if they keep losing. But Chris, another thing, since we're on this train, is cornerstones of teams. And Luke, I want you to chime in on this one too. Davante Adams, a team like the Ravens could use him. Teams like the Chiefs could use him. Will we see Davante Adams traded before the trade deadline this year after his comments he made about he's just tired of, he doesn't want to be here to figure it out in week 17, pretty much is what he said.
I don't think we're going to see a trade unless like this gets really bad of him sitting out. I mean, Josh McDaniels is a fucking horrible coach. Terrible. And we saw it last night on primetime of how bad of a coach he is. I mean, Adams definitely clearly wants out. I think Carr was the whole reason why Adams even went to Vegas, and now Carr's gone, and he's sitting there with Jimmy G passing the ball to him. It's not a good situation.
Yeah.
Trying to at least. I mean, he did it.
Hey,
he put up what, like 200 yards? So I mean, Jimmy G's giving him the ball. But he wants to win games. So I don't think we see a trade that I don't think we see a trade
Yeah.
before the trade deadline.
I think the Raiders are going to want too much for Davante Adams for any team to really go in on. I know the Ravens aren't big on big trades. Kansas City might do it. That'd be the only team I think that would probably sell everything to try to win now and give Mahomes that true number one.
Can they
But
afford him?
I don't think they probably figure it out. But
I mean, you said too much, right? I mean, Davante Adams still has literally including this year, he has 4 seasons left. So like, you give a first rounder or whatever, like you're gonna get Davante Adams for another 3.5 years.
yeah,
For a number one,
Right.
probably top 3 receiver in the league still.
Yeah,
For a team that's missing a
I
wide
think the
receiver,
only
I
way
think it's
that
worth
you're-
it. I really.
I think it's
I'd
worth
like
it
to see
too,
him
but
on
I
the
think the
Ravens,
only
but I
way
don't
you
think
see it
it's not a
is
typical Raven move.
I think the only way you see it is a team that's like on that playoff bubble and needs that, like that's their one piece that they're missing is a wide receiver. Kansas City, you make a great point. Kansas City would be a great one, and I think that they
They're not-
may very well be a bubble team. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is magical, but I'm not going to chalk up this win against the Bears as anything in any, the Chiefs are a great team. I mean, come on, it was the Bears, but
They're not trading him in division.
Yeah.
They're not going to trade him in division. They're not going to do that.
Well, they're not going to do
the
that.
only thing Mahomes needs is a receiver that can catch a ball. He can get the ball to him. He just needs somebody that can catch.
I just don't think the Chiefs are going to get him though. Just because it's division, the rivals. I mean, like, why would you give them to your division opponent?
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs are going to get them, like you said, Mark, with the inside the division. But also, Kansas City's clearly not worried about the wide receiver position. They didn't really try to make moves on free agency, and they drafted in the second round from Rice. So, I mean, clearly they're not too worried about their wide receiver weapons.
And I'm also trying to think of, like, on top of my head, like, what teams outside the Chiefs, because like I said, I don't think they're going to happen, like, would need a receiver. I mean, I go Baltimore because they always seem like they're just been in the wide receiver market for a while since the Quan Bolden days, and Steve Smith towards the back end of his career. But, I mean, you have maybe some of the NFC East teams, maybe Dallas can make a move for him. Maybe he goes back to Green Bay. They could use a good veteran quarterback. They have a pretty good defense there. You give him with Jordan Love, and I don't know, like teams like that need a receiver. I just don't think he stays. He's like I said, he's gonna be wasting his career there. Essentially, is what he's doing.
Dallas might
Send him to Miami.
Davante Adams might actually elevate Dak Prescott.
No.
I didn't say to like superstart him. All right,
He might cut his interceptions
stat.
down a little bit because like he'll be able to take the ball away from other corners, but that's about it. I don't.
I mean,
Davante Adams would help any team.
The best
Yes,
option I
he's
can
not the
see
Bears.
is
Not the Bears.
going
'Cause you
back
gotta have a
going
quarterback
back
to throw
to
to him.
going back to Green Bay, but like is Green Bay actually what are they going to give up to try to get him back,
Not what
I
they
mean,
gave to, not what they got to give him away.
Well, they probably
Yeah.
only give up one first rounder. I mean, I still think he's worth a first rounder, especially with what he's doing right now. But
I agree.
boys, we're getting close to the end of the episode. We got a couple good topics. We had some good moments for week 3, and just kind of want to hear what you guys thought. Like, week 3, we saw some things out there, and you know what? I'm gonna go hot take here. I'm gonna say the best moment of the week was the Cleveland Browns pulling out a huge win for Nick Chubb. Deshaun Watson looking like not prime Deshaun Watson, but he got some of his game back. It looked like the run game wasn't quite there. The defense is the defense. Myles Garrett, I think 3.5 sacks. One of the best defensive players in the NFL. I think the best moment of the week was the Cleveland Browns making a statement win, putting their name out there for the AFC North crown. They're tied now with the Steelers, tied with the Ravens. So I think that the Browns are in a good spot still without Nick Chubb. If Deshaun Watson get this passing game continuing going, I think that's best moment. I mean, I know the easy answer is Miami, but as a football fan, just seeing the Cleveland Browns doing good is the best moment of the week for me.
I think the Browns have maybe one of the best defenses this year. Like, I know we were very high on Dallas. Dallas got exposed. I mean, the Browns defense is playing phenomenal, lights out. And I think that's helping Deshaun Watson out a ton.
Yeah, what Myles Garrett is doing on the defensive side of the ball, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it, where he's able to run back and forth to both sides, and he caused a delay of game because the two tight ends couldn't get set because he kept going back and forth.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was so funny.
Yeah,
No, he's a freak, dude.
So they have two tight ends matched up against him, and probably the tackle as well. Like,
Triple team him.
He's been a game wrecker this year, and he's just fucking toying with offensive linemen.
Yeah, I just think that's my best moment of the week. I just think the Browns getting back on track, and it's good seeing Cleveland succeed. Hopefully, they keep it going.
Yeah, I'll take the obvious one. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins putting up 70. I mean, this was a college football game, is what this was. This was fucking Georgia going up against Little School State University. Just playing with their food. I mean, 70 points. I don't even know if I even remember the last time I saw 70 in the NFL. I don't even. Do you know when the last 70 point was?
I think it was in like the 60s. We weren't alive. I'll tell you that when it happened.
The
It was
60s,
72
so-
points, just direct.
I know it's the obvious one, but I got to give the credit to that because it has been so long and it is so rare to see. So that's going to be my impressive moment of the week. Is going to be Dolphins putting up 70.
Yeah, then the other ones we've already hit on it. Yeah, the Cardinals beating the Cowboys. Pretty big win for the Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals have been relatively competitive in every game. So I mean, they're. I know they don't have any like star players over there, but they're still fucking fighting over there. So I love to see it.
They pushed.
And another moment. I know Mark wanted to slide past this, kind of cut it out of the takes, but the NFC South, bad week for the NFC South. I think their hot start is over. You kind of see what the NFC South is going to be like coming up. Falcons, like if they get down, they can't come back. Like their passing game is not there.
Yeah,
We were down. We were down 12 points in the fourth quarter last week, and we came back. So
because you ran,
so
you have to run the ball.
But you said we couldn't. But you said we couldn't come back. We have. So we're 1-1 in comebacks this year. So, I mean, we're 500 on that. But hey, we are all three teams. We have 3-2-1 teams. The AFC North has 3-2-1 teams. So we're in the same boat as division. Besides, you just have 1-1 team, and we have a winless team. So we're just pretty much neck and neck.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest get away from this week is the Jets. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett he's terrible as an offensive coordinator without Aaron Rodgers. I mean, they're averaging 10 points a game right now. Zach Wilson, I don't know how you keep relying on him and not trying to get a veteran quarterback in that room, because right now he's completing 47.6% of his passes, 327 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. He's not your best chance to win a game, like the head coach is saying over there in New York. He's terrible. He's not doing any better after a whole offseason with Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets should definitely try to look elsewhere. And I mean, even like a little ideas like, hey, maybe grab Joshua Dobbs. I mean, Kyler Murray's coming back halfway through the season. I don't know. Zach Wilson needs to get the fuck out.
They got to find something.
I don't think Dobbs is going to be the answer, but
Dobbs is going to be the answer for this year, because you're just looking for a guy for this year.
I was actually shocked. I was shocked to hear. Well, Matt Ryan, I can understand saying no to that one, but I was shocked to hear Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz both reached out to New York, and the Jets were like, "Yeah, now we're good with Zach Wilson." Like, are y'all trying not? Huh?
I still take Matt Ryan over Zach Wilson any day.
But Matt Ryan's so funny.
You had two veteran proven Carson Wentz was proven at one point, right? But you have two veteran quarterbacks. Carson Wentz could do a hell of a lot better with that team than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson has shown time and time again that he is not a quarterback that you can rely on. Like the fact that you would I'd take Jimmy off the street. You know what I'm saying? I'd take little Billy to come in here and get steamrolled over Zach Wilson.
There's one quarterback that can say this, and it's Fitzmagic. They need a little Fitzmagic back in New York. Let him try to go back there. I mean, he'll win you some games. He'll win some games.
It's just when the pressure's on to get that last game in is when he's gonna choke.
He'll get you there.
He'll get you a chance. He'll get you there. He'll get you a chance.
Hey,
well, get Mr. Elite back out there. Get Mr. Elite back out there, right?
Yeah, he won some games last year.
Bring Tom back, dude. Tom will
since
show
you did a reaction.
how to do it.
Since you did a reaction though, Chris, I have maybe two quick ones. I think the Baker Mayfield experiment is not over, but I think it's overhyped just because you play a good defense. You see what Baker is. He's not that great to me. I know we're on it for 2 games, but let's pump the brakes. We're going to see what he does against the Saints. And also, I do think the Houston Texans are getting it right. I think what they're doing with D'Amico Ryan, CJ Stroud, who balled out 20 of 30 for 280, 2 touchdowns, they are on pace to have a good career down the line. Maybe not this year, but like I said, they're going to compete. They might not win a lot of games. So I'm overreacting on the Texans. I think I see good things from them this upcoming in the next few years.
They're going to win more than 1 or 2 games this year.
Yeah, I think I had them around like 3 or so.
I still got Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield at 9+ wins. Still staying strong. Well, one game's not going to end the thing for me.
It was rough seeing what Baker did. I mean, I get that it was raining a little bit, but the Eagles have a lot of holes in the secondary. A lot of holes in the secondary. And he's still just
I wouldn't say it was all on him. There's some drops. Mike Evans had a couple first downs that he should have had. He had a touchdown he should have had.
Mike Evans also had a phenomenal catch that he probably shouldn't have had.
It goes both ways.
This offensive line also showed what I said at the beginning of the season, that when they play good against a good pass rush, it's not a good offensive line. That was the problem with Brady last year. He could not have time to set his feet, throw the ball. That's why he looked so lost and scared.
Oh, yeah.
Probably why he retired, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. They lost their best offensive lineman in the offseason, too.
They did that last year, too.
Yeah.
Tampa's defense.
They did that last year, too.
Tampa's defense took some big hits today, too. I think like 2 of their corners went down. I don't know what the injury is, but...
And like you said, Chris, when that secondary gets injuries, it shows because they don't have a lot of depth.
They don't have any depth, so...
No. A.J. Brown was having a pretty good game, and...
They're still able to pick off Hurts twice, though. They just couldn't do anything on the offense.
One of them was a complete miscommunication between him and the receiver. Receiver went right, and the ball went left.
And that wasn't the secondary that did that. That was the linebacker.
Yeah. I'm not going to give any credit to the secondary on that, because honestly, if they were on target with each other, he was wide open for that quick slant.
The one in the end zone, the one towards the end zone was a phenomenal. I'll give that one. That was a phenomenal interception.
That was incredible.
And honestly,
and they get safetied on the very next play.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the Eagles were happy about that because they got 2 points off the interception and the ball back. So
yeah, that's true.
yeah, good play for them.
I'm gonna reiterate my overreaction. I'm honestly gonna call it an underreaction at this point because I think it is an underreaction. But I'm gonna precursor with a hashtag Jameis 2023. Bring that man in, give him the reins. Let him run with it. 10 of 16 over 100 yards. Chris, you could say what you want and put the blame on him. I don't think Jameis was your problem.
No, I don't hear
Yeah, he already said it wasn't.
Well, it's not that defense let up. It's that fucking Love finally found out that we had a rookie corner out there that couldn't cover shit.
Yeah.
And then also Pete Carmichael, terrible fucking play calling.
No, I thought Jameis was impressive in his little bit of time.
No, Jameis was dog shit. The only good part he had was the very last drive that led us down to
that's typical Jameis fashion. Jameis is a 5-minute quarterback.
We're gonna see what he's gonna do this week if he plays with Alvin Kamara returning too.
He is playing.
But anyways, my overreaction again, as I said earlier, is Jags suck. Jags suck. They're not making the playoffs. Ain't gonna be shit. Trevor Lawrence needs to figure his life out right now. I don't know what's going on. The run game is good. There's so much that is good about this team. Like, they should not be in the position that they're in. They should be running away with this.
Maybe I lost out on the dynasty trade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And especially to be that close against the Chiefs the way that you were, and like not to come up short, but to just play so minimally in that game. I mean,
Well, Luke, you had a good one before Chris joined. What was your overreaction going out of week 3? It's about the Bengals.
About the Bengals?
Yeah, you had one about the Bengals after the game. They're not making the playoffs, huh?
I don't remember saying that, but yeah, sure.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, well, fuck me. I really said. I mean,
yeah,
we'll let it down.
I don't remember saying that, but don't worry. All right, I'll roll with it. Bengals missed playoffs. Joe Burrow didn't look very good today. Jamar Chase had a great day. Rams defense couldn't stop Jamar Chase. Other than that, Bengals didn't look impressive. Rams offense just not clicking. Like, the Rams could have easily won this game if their offense could move the ball even a little bit.
I think Joe played a lot better than what he has been playing. T. Higgins definitely did not fucking help him out at all.
Yeah.
There was a lot of big
Then,
drops from receivers.
Yes, there
then
was.
the pass rush from the Rams was not there. Like I think Aaron Donald's like overhyped at this point, or he just like
I mean, he got to Joe Burrow a couple times. He was there in the backfield.
There was a couple times. I mean, it's
a
hard.
couple
It's
times,
hard.
but it's not. If you're gonna be one of the top defensive linemen in the NFL, like you should like.
He also plays
fucking-
inside though.
Yeah, it's harder to him getting the sacks like he did early in his career. That was phenomenal. But like Chris said, he's in the inside, so you're facing more double teams than you are from the outside.
It just didn't seem like the Rams pass rush was there to get to Burrow. Then I mean their defense played all right. They had a great interception on Burrow. I mean not Burrow's fault, but the one Witherspoon grabbed, jumped the route and grabbed a great interception. But other than that, like the Rams offense could not do anything off of what the defense was giving them.
I mean, they did a lot. They drove down the field plenty of times. They just got stopped in the red zone.
They did. The Rams did drive the ball quite a bit. They just, like Chris said, they couldn't finish at all.
They would go They would go flat.
They go flat, they kick a field goal, or they turn the ball over. Just literally interceptions. But
I'm sorry,
no,
those
great show,
Bengal
boy.
uniforms were ugly as fuck. Also,
I thought they looked good.
I like the whiteout uniforms.
Chris, you had a good overreaction before the show too. You were texting me on the side. What were you saying about the Saints finishing last place in the division?
Oh, that ain't happening.
Yeah. Show me that text.
If only there's only one team. One of our teams will finish last place, and that's going to be yours, Doc. So
yes, sir.
Enjoy.
No, we're actually we see you're looking at it wrong. That's called finishing first in the draft. Okay.
0-17. 0-17.
Fucking send it.
You know you're the only team before we sign out that has not won a game since Elon Musk bought X, formerly known as Twitter.
I don't know why that is relevant.
12 game loss streak.
Not the losing streak. The losing streak is definitely relevant. We're on a 12-game losing streak. I'm not arguing that. I don't know why the Elon Musk thing, because I saw that whatever was posted in the chat, and then
it was like week 7 of last year. Yeah.
Yeah, why can't we just say since week 7 of last year? I don't know why the Elon Musk thing. He has nothing to do with football. Like we're not talking like Justin Fields isn't won since the Raiders moved to Vegas. You know what I mean? Like Elon Musk has nothing to do with football. Let's just keep it relevant. That's all I'm saying.
If the Bears don't beat the Broncos, there's a very high chance that the Bears go 0-17.
I am fine with that. We will get a quarterback that Eberflus wants. And
then what? Fire
get a
him
wide
next
receiver
year?
with Carolina's pick. We'll be good.
Do you think that your head coach is going to stay again if y'all go 0-17? Would the Bears organization really keep him?
I think this year, yes, because of how crippled our defense is. Not to mention we've got a lot of key pieces out on injury right now. But between that, the defensive coordinator shit going on, I think he's having to wear 2 hats right now as a head coach and the defensive coordinator. So I think that there is enough going on that can excuse it. And Ryan Poles is high on Eberflus. He loves the guy.
Well, we'll have plenty of chances throughout the year to talk Chicago, especially after the season's done and we're talking draft time when they're looking at which QB they're going to have.
And look at the moves. Look at the moves when I talked about new head coach not giving a shit about, the old quarterback in the system, because look at what Ryan Poles has done this year. There are only a handful of players left from the Ryan Pace era. And I think he's trying to push Justin Fields out with everybody else.
Like I said, we'll keep an eye on it. We'll definitely have some time next few months, an off season when free agency happens and the draft happens. But boys, great episode. Way to recap week 3. Tomorrow we're gonna dive into our predictions, see how we're looking after the week 3 time, and go ahead into week 4. But that's Chris Meinhardt, that's Luke Rule, that's Nick the Doc Skirkwitz. I'm Mark Davis. This is All About the Balls podcast, and we are out. Thank you for checking out another episode of All About the Balls podcast. We want to thank all of our listeners and supporters of the Sack House. You can listen to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram @the Sack House.